In this video, I'm going to show you how to evaluate critic quotes to get top marks when studying King Lear for A-level. Please make sure to like and subscribe to this channel for lots more revision videos. So first of all, what does the mark scheme say? So if we look at AO5, evaluation of opinions, it is the ability to discuss and evaluate varying opinions and interpretations of literary works. So for the top band, you need to perceptively consider and evaluate varying opinions and interpretations which work to support an assured argument consistently relevant to the question, with support from the text. So let's unpack this. So first of all, the mark scheme does not specify or require you to have learned critic quotes off by heart. It's more important that you can understand and paraphrase the critic's general viewpoint. However, obviously, if you want to learn some quotes off by heart, that is also going to be a strength. You need to evaluate and discuss. Now, this means it's not enough to just include a critic quote, you need to incorporate it into your argument and say something about it, whether that's disagreeing with it or adding to it or clarifying it further. Okay, many students just include a critic quote and they go, great, I've done AO5, but if you don't discuss or evaluate it, then you're not going to be getting those top bands. Your argument needs to be perceptive, so you need to make sure that you directly evaluate it in relation to the essay question. Okay, and this is why you need to revise and learn a range of critic quotes, because that way you're going to be able to have one that's relevant to whichever question comes up. So we're going to evaluate one together now as an example. So here is a quote from Helen Norris. The horror of Lear's story is the unnatural behaviour of Goneril and Regan. They are daughters who revolt against their father, subjects who revolt against their king, sisters who betray each other, wives who betray their husbands. These are not only personal sins, but an upsetting of civilised values. Now, I would advise you now to pause the video and think, how could you discuss this quote? What could you zoom in on further in this quote? What could you perhaps refine? What could you add? How could you disagree with it? Because it's going to be much stronger if you come at this with your own ideas. However, I will now give you some thoughts that I had. And if I was writing an essay on this, these are some of the ideas that I would perhaps discuss. So I would zoom in on the word unnatural and I would question, is Goneril and Regan's behaviour unnatural? Or is their behaviour perfectly natural for the least favoured sisters? Are we instead seeing a natural response to the pain of rejection from a parent? I think here what I would clarify, and I'm going to show you this on the next slide, is my question would be, is it society and the patriarchal expectations of women that's actually unnatural, but essentially Goneril and Regan are having a very understandable and natural reaction to the pain of rejection? Another thought I had that perhaps I could discuss or clarify or further this point is when she talks about an upsetting of civilised values. Now, civilised is an interesting word choice here. Does she mean civilised or does she mean patriarchal? Because is it really civilised that it's acceptable for Lear to kind of treat Goneril and Regan, as second class to their sister? And then, Lear has this big band of knights and he goes to their homes and his knights behave really badly and he won't control them. And then Goneril and Regan understandably have a reaction to that. Therefore, is it them that has the upsetting of civilised values? Or is it actually Lear who upsets these values first, yet he is not questioned because he is a man, he is the king, etc. So I think another way I would perhaps discuss this quote is in regards to the patriarchal values of the time. However, I'm going to use my first idea to show you an example paragraph of how you can include this in an essay. So here's an example of how to evaluate this within an essay. Helen Norris describes the horror of King Lear being the unnatural behaviour of Goneril and Regan because of their revolt against their father, king, sisters and husbands. Whilst their behaviour would have caused horror to a Shakespearean audience when held up against traditional patriarchal values and the great chain of being, I question whether their behaviour can be considered unnatural. As Lear's least favoured daughters who lived in Cordelia's shadow, their eventual defiance against Lear is a natural response for children who felt the pain of rejection from a parent. Instead, the patriarchal expectations for a daughter to uphold the wishes of their father, despite how outlandish they may be and how rejected they may have felt, is the most unnatural thing of all. Therefore, Shakespeare is drawing into sharp relief the unnatural expectations of the patriarchal society of the time. Okay, now obviously for this to really hit the top band, this would have to be well incorporated into an essay as a whole. I couldn't just stick this in there. It would need to be linked to my own exploration of whatever the essay was on, whether that be family, whether that be Goneril and Regan, whether that be the true horror of King Lear. But this is an example here of how you could evaluate and discuss a critic's opinion to get those top marks and hit that top band. So please let me know your thoughts and questions in the comments so that I can make further videos that answer your questions, and make sure to hit like and subscribe. And if you have a look at the description of this video, you will find more resources that I've made which will help you to explore AO5 and practice writing answers even further.